What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the A Show with your host, Justin. That is myself and Meelz. We are here for episode 19 of
19, baby. Come on. This is we here. We here. This is it.
Incredible. I can't believe it. I think I mentioned it 2 weeks ago. I was like, man, we're at our 20th episode. I don't think I've ever done 20 shows of anything in a row before. Just an incredible accolade for the A Show, especially for you. I'm just new to the multiple podcast game, but you're in like the hundreds of two belts.
I'm almost dead. I'm almost dead. Yeah, it's been a long ride. Shout out to the Two Bells podcast. I also do with Carlos. You can listen to that on SoundCloud as well. Yeah, I've been hammering. Oh, there goes my mic. This is what happens. You get a new mic and things get crazy. All right.
Are you okay? I'm gonna keep this.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. This is a new experience. It took me 19 episodes to get a mic, and here we are.
And then you just dropped it on the first one. I'm gonna keep all of that. I'm not letting any of that go. That's golden right there. We're keeping all of that shit
Oh my god.
because that's what we do. We do some editing on here where it edits out like the weird stuff, some crazy shit that you'll never hear, but we're gonna keep that outtake. I just think it's funny. I'm gonna keep that one on record because I always have to like fix Meelz's like, all right, hold on, let me go punch somebody in the face in another room.
Yeah. I don't think we'll have to do that this week. This is hopefully we don't, but I've definitely given 21-year-olds like very bad looks because I hear noise in the other room and there's not supposed to be any noise. So we'll see what happens.
But speaking of broken and falling and dying, I am very sick today. I'm powering through this. I am hopped up on Theraflu and juices.
Theraflu is the good stuff, man. You did well. Theraflu before they took out the stuff that was, could also be used to create massive drugs.
Yes.
Theraflu was so really better. It's still good now, but potency.
It is super potent. I burnt the top of my fucking. You're supposed to like drink it fast.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to heat it up, dude. Which flavor you got?
I have like lemon.
Lemon is the one.
And I put honey in it.
Even though it has the bad taste in the beginning. The first taste is the worst. It tastes like piss.
Yes.
And then after probably a couple more sips, you just used to it. Like you're just like, this will get me better.
Yeah, but I'm trying to like drink it so quick, and it's like it's the worst. And my girlfriend actually sent me like juices, like a juice shot, to my job, and I took that, and I damn near like passed out. Like that shit, I didn't know that shit hit you in your chest. Like it's like a real ass shot.
Oh yeah, I had some. It's probably not as strong as yours, but anything with really garlic in it is gonna. Not garlic, ginger. Anything with ginger in it is really gonna smack the shit out of you.
It had ginger in it, and it had cayenne pepper in it.
Oh,
so
yeah, even that's doubly worse. The cayenne pepper is worse than the ginger. Cayenne pepper will have you there for a moment.
I still have one more juice to drink because you're supposed to, I guess, drink the whole regimen to like feel better. But so I'm gonna be drinking that as we record the show, and we have quite a pretty interesting show. It's been a pretty interesting week in wrestling as a whole for the 19th episode. But for the 20th, before we, what do you think you want to do for the 20th, or do you just want to just treat it like it's another show? Maybe you do something for 25. Maybe do something.
No, I want to do something for the 20th on the Two Bells podcast. We definitely had something for 20th. 20th is a milestone. Committing to anything for 20 weeks is a big accomplishment. Quite honestly, week by week. If anything, I don't know yet, but
maybe we get like maybe we do 20, and then we have like a new season. Like we have a new song, we have like a theme song, a new like maybe we just read it because like we build this show from the bottom up. So like we got a logo 7 episodes ago, and then we have all this other stuff going on. It's like we kind of change every so often, and I feel like the show is kind of finally becoming into its own. Maybe we just like the growth is the celebration of the show.
Okay, I'm fine with that. You know what? I'm fine with the moral victory.
Yeah, 20 weeks is well. I'll still think of something over the week, and maybe we could probably have some friends call in or whatever, or some listeners call in. But maybe we'll think of it as the week goes on. But we definitely want to thank, before we start the show, like everyone for listening for 20 weeks. It is a joy, and
And
it's
tell your
really,
friends, by the way. Tell your friends. Tell your Mark ass friends,
yeah.
um, who also watch wrestling, and tell them to listen to the podcast because this is pretty good. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't listen to much of podcasts that I'm on after I'm on it, but this one I kind of do because I feel like I sound smart, even though there are a wide amount of people who disagree.
Oh, a lot. Trust me, I hear about it, and that's the best part about it. But really, this has been like a labor of love and a passion, and this is something that just started really randomly. And I feel like I'm doing the episode 20 speech before episode 20, but this is something that we did for fun, and it's just become its own thing, and people just look forward to it. So thank you guys. But
No problem.
let's get into No Holds Barred for this week. First thing I want to talk about is the New Japan, just the storylines that have been building in New Japan for the past 2 weeks. Are you familiar with any of it?
All right, I was familiar via this very great thread about the history of the Golden Lovers. There was a
Yes.
there was a thread on Twitter. Maybe I'll retweet it or something again. There was a beautiful thread about the story of the Golden Lovers and why it's like one of the greatest, like, potentially gay tales in wrestling. Um,
Is it? But
and
I think people are like they're pulling the chicken before the egg here. Like I don't think they've explicitly said anything
no,
about
they
it.
haven't. But I think it's a good part of the story, even if they don't say it. Is it, who would it's intriguing. They're not denying it.
Yeah. I do think they need to be a little bit clearer and not be so obtuse about it soon.
Hmm.
That could I just see that potentially being like a thing, and I know that people want it to be a certain way, and I know that they're looking at a lot of the Being the Elite skits, or like the most recent thing they did where they zoomed in on an open closet. But I think that's a little bit more like tongue in cheek than what people are taking it as. Like they're taking it as like a real like shoot, and it might be a work.
It's very shoot. All right, but but I do know that they're supposed to face the Young Bucks pretty soon.
Yes, and basically last weekend they had the first of their ROH co-branded shows. There were the Honor Rising shows that were topped off by basically the implosion of the Bullet Club. The first night had a three-way tag with the Golden Lovers, and I believe it was Adam Page. No, it wasn't Adam Page. It was the other guy, Was it Chase Owens? I think it was Chase Owens. One of them.
I'm gonna have
One
to
of
take
them.
your word for it.
I'm blanking here. Trust me, I'm sick. Versus Cody and the Bullet Club, and then the second night had the more I feel like the better storyline with the Golden Lovers going against Marty Scurll and Cody in the main event, which I thought was an excellent match. I think that Kenny and Kota have not missed a step as far as being a great tag team. Face Kenny is great. I think Face Kenny was always a really good face person, and I'm kind of struggling to think of which was better between his heel persona and his face persona. The face persona did a lot of comedy shit, and I hope he doesn't start doing the comedy shit again because his heel persona got over for the great matches. But from what we've seen here, I really enjoy that tag team match, and I think Cody even I'm not too high on Cody. He had a really great fucking showing in that match, just being a heel. He finally has something to sink his teeth into, and he has a really strong program with Kenny here, and I think it's working between both of them. But at the end of the match, which the Golden Lovers won with their tremendous new finisher, the Golden Trigger, where they both basically the opponents on their knees. Kenny and Kota hold each of their opponent's arms, and they both knee them in the face at the same time.
Oh my god.
It's fucking insane. But after that match happened, the Young Bucks came out and announced that they were going to move up to the heavyweight division, which is huge because they are 7-time junior tag team heavyweight championships. Ah, shit, I just fucked all that. They're 7-time
Champions.
junior heavyweight tag team champions, and
Champions, baby.
they basically hung up their jerseys essentially on one episode of Being the Elite, and they're now facing But I do think that Ibushi is going to win that. And Meelz, in case you didn't know, the New Japan Cup is a tournament that happens usually in March, where the winner of that gets a title shot for the April pay-per-view or the April event, I believe. And essentially, I think that might be Kota Ibushi versus Okada. I think if I'm a betting man, I say they let Ibushi beat Okada and have it be a very long storyline leading up to Kenny and Kota actually facing each other at Wrestle Kingdom next year.
This is gonna be good. I mean, I think I think the programs they have right now is a little bit interesting as opposed to, I mean, I'm for it. I'll be here watching it.
Are you going to watch it? Are you going to be watching the Long Beach shows and stuff like that?
Yeah, if there's nothing else on, sure. I mean, it's not that I hate the show.
It's going to be some of the best matches you'll see this year. I'll tell you that.
It's obviously airing at a sane hour because it's going to be broadcasting in America, so I won't have any problems with that. Yeah, I'll watch it, no doubt. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I just need a date. What is this?
The Long Beach show. I think it's March 20. I think it's the last week of March 2018. It is Strong Style Evolved. It will be at March 25th. Yeah, last week, March 25th.
March 25th. I'll mark it down. I'll be there, which is Sunday. I'll be there. Of course. What else is happening that Sunday? Not WrestleMania.
No, that's the week after, which is insane because the week after that and Mania weekend, and I really feel for these guys and New Japan because they have to go up and down Japan and the US for the next month, essentially, because of all the events that are going on. But right after that, you have Mania weekend and you have the big show with Supercard of Honor for ROH where you'll see Kenny Omega versus Cody. And that's going to be insane too. And that's also taking place at the same time as NXT TakeOver, New Orleans.
I mean, listen, New Orleans is going to be a hot ticket. So, you know what? Just get in where you fit in, honestly, because, it's I think either show is going to be an amazing show for WrestleMania weekend. I think all the shows really. It's going to be a very, very good night.
Yep. And the next point I want to talk about, speaking of big tickets, Rey Mysterio is also going to be in New Japan next month at Strong Style Evolved. But he's also allegedly, and this has been debunked really as soon as I wrote this down on the sheet today, that Rey Mysterio was possibly gunning for a WrestleMania match against John Cena.
Because that makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. I think it makes no sense at all. I don't know why he would angle. He's like, hey, why don't if you bring me back? I mean, he's already been angling in terms of bringing them back. It's like, a money thing. It's like, it's a negotiation, it's dates. It's like he doesn't want to work as much. But to think that he's angling for a match with John Cena at WrestleMania at the beginning of March, he's trying to have these negotiations in February when the WrestleMania card is pretty much all or damn near close to all figured out at this point. It's just insane to actually believe. Plus, the match doesn't feel like a WrestleMania match to me. It feels like a nice little backlash encounter. Yeah, great balls of fire, something crazy like that. It doesn't feel like an actual WrestleMania type feel match.
Yeah, and as everyone knows, the WWE was in California this week for all of their main shows, and Rey Mysterio was rumored to be backstage at Smackdown yesterday.
I'm sure he was.
He was not. Dave Meltzer. Yeah, Dave Meltzer confirmed that he was at home, and he was not backstage.
Watching Smackdown.
I'm not sure. And here's he could have he could have been there Monday. He definitely wasn't there yesterday. I know that for sure. But
we'll get to that.
And we'll get to that in a second. But I do think that, whoever Justin Barrasso from Sports Illustrated, he's always like reporting stuff and like not backing down from it and always doubling down on it, and especially when he's wrong. And he's been wrong like a lot lately.
Yeah, he's been quietly wrong. Like it's like a lot. And writing long pieces of non-facts, non-truths. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and then it's like it becomes an issue where it's like you're reporting something like this, and it's kind of like fucking with your credibility. But Rey Mysterio apparently isn't angling for it, but he is in talks. So the John Cena main event or match on WrestleMania is still up in the air, and we'll get to that in a second. But that's
Yeah,
pretty
I
much
still think, don't get me wrong, I still think Rey Mysterio could show up at WrestleMania. And once again, I'm a proponent for that. I'm someone who thinks that Rey Mysterio, if there's ever a time to return, similar to the Hardys last year, it would be at WrestleMania to get that big WrestleMania pop, and maybe even the night after WrestleMania. But I'm for Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Just against John Cena, it seems kind of wacky.
here. Here's my take on if what best moment for Rey Mysterio would be come out after the end of the two of the cruiserweight championship and challenge the new champion.
Eh, I mean, yeah, you know what? I'm not totally against that, but then I feel like just him going backwards as a cruiserweight, and now the cruiserweight is the motion. But I mean, he's quite honestly the greatest cruiserweight of all time. But I feel like he's to be, I guess, marginalized by 205 Live roster. I think it's not a good look. It's a good look for 205 Live, but it doesn't necessarily hold the same like sort of weight for Rey Mysterio. What does it do for his career more so than the show 205 Live?
That's what that you just said it. That's the point.
Nah,
To
I mean, but it's good for 205 Live. It's good for the WWE. But what is Rey Mysterio getting out of it? Like, what is
he's
Rey
a part
Mysterio
time.
getting
He's going
out
to
of
be
it?
a part timer anyway. So he could
I
he
think
could he could be a free agent.
that's true, but like not enough eyes are on. If you want Rey Mysterio, who sells merch, who sells things, you're gonna want eyes
That
on
puts the
him.
cruiserweights back on Raw, though. That puts them back on Raw.
I think they've written them out of Raw completely.
No, they
you
haven't.
know,
There's just no room for them with that tournament going on. And with Mania season up, they would have gotten minimal looks anyway. I think the tournament is the best thing for cruiserweights right now.
I hope
I
they
think if you
transition them out of Raw. To be honest with you, I don't think they need to be on Raw anymore. I think there's
they're, I'm telling you, they're probably not off Raw. I can assure you of this. This is probably just a temporary thing until they get the cruiserweight champion situation settled.
okay. All right. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. You're probably
But
right, but we'll see because I'm always wrong. But it is what it is.
and our last point for No Holds Barred, did you watch NXT last week with the tremendous main event between Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas?
I did watch it. I was glued. It was one of the rare times that I decided to watch NXT live. I usually don't. I tuned in today and then just tuned out. I was like, I could probably watch this later. Um, but yeah, I saw the ending to, Johnny Gargano losing against Andrade Cien Almas for the fourth time in a row. I mean, you lose to anyone four times, I don't think you're granted a rematch or you should be able to walk, in the arena anymore. But he's lost to Cien Almas four times, lost his championship shot, and lost his place on the NXT roster. So where does Johnny Gargano go from here?
Yes, tremendous angle. I was super excited to see how they pulled this off when I saw it in the spoilers a couple of weeks ago. And look, I'm glad to say they did it excellently. They are allowing Johnny to finish off of his prior engagements, and that would be the NXT house shows on their loops because they still do need him to pack out houses. So they've been basically doing a tag match or a mixed tag match between Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano and Zelina Vega and Andrade Almas, which has been getting really rave reviews. And he also, every town he goes to, he says goodbye. And I think that they're really milking this angle, rightfully so. This isn't milking in a bad term, but I think it's a great angle to do this on. And I can't think of a better sympathetic babyface to do this with than Johnny Gargano. And I love that Tommaso Ciampa, who did come out during that match and cost Johnny the match, I think his return to social media and his character on social media has been excellent as well. I love the story. It's making me want to see the match even more.
I think it's a good departure from what Tommaso Ciampa was. I think now he has an image. Now he has sort of a character, very cold. I mean, he was called the Psycho Killer anyway, but now it's like fully fleshed out. I think is his entire demeanor has changed. His entire look has changed in a bit. He's gotten way more cut, way more strong. He just looks way more evil. I think I'd be surprised to see how this sort of goes from here. Does Johnny Gargano eventually return to NXT, as we all think he probably will do, just because we've seen wrestling angles for the last 60 years? I mean, how many losers leave town matches actually resulted in the loser leaving town forever?
Mhm.
But it's or does he have one more, one off match? If I'm booking it, I'm booking unsanctioned street fight at New Orleans, and just like Johnny Gargano's one, you know, it's a match, but it's not necessarily sanctioned by NXT, and he's not a contracted NXT talent. And maybe we start moving him to 205 live. Maybe, I don't know. What do you think?
I I think that just looking at the way that the card is going to shake up in the next couple of weeks, the amount of matches they have on takeovers and the amount of matches that we know are going to happen, I don't know unless they make this show supersized. I don't know where this match would fit. I have my
Mm,
suspicions that they will do this match, but I also have my suspicions as to whether Champa is healthy or not yet. And
interesting.
because we haven't seen him do anything physical, and I think that's
Well, this
what
is true. Yeah, I mean, but I'm assuming um they're hoping by the time he will be cleared by the time it is NXT New Orleans weekend. And I mean, this is just all assumption. I
we
mean,
do have. We do have two more episodes that are running now. We'll move them to March, I believe,
yeah,
and from there we have two more. So we have the go home taping, so to speak, and we'll see what happens there. But I would love to Gargano and Champa. What's wrong with your mic? Yo?
yeah.
What's wrong with your mic?
Oh, I've been adjusting the mic. Listen, I'm getting new. I'm getting adjusted to this mic. Don't. It's a learning process.
I know I can hear you though. But
All right.
what was I saying?
That is, I can't hear me. So.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, I see this match based. I see it happening. I'm just not sure if it's going to happen in New Orleans or not. But it would be excellent to have it. Maybe Johnny come back and he say, "I need to have one more match in NXT, and it has to be against Champa." And then you have the match. It happens, and then whoever wins, and have Gargano go on to the main roster and have Champa stay because I think Champa is a great heel for the company and for that brand going forward.
I think so too. I mean, another one. Yeah, I think he is. Just another one, another great heel to the already, stacked roster of NXT right now. So I think it's good. And just in case someone goes up, he can certainly fill that spot and become one of the main attractions of NXT, or even if he moves up, who knows? Um, but yeah,
Exactly. The next, I guess, the next part of the show. Did you watch Elimination Chamber?
yes, I have. I mean, I've watched Elimination Chamber. I was not, as we talked about last week. We were not fully. I mean, we thought the matches would be good, but we didn't really, think of this, as a sort of major must see show. I mean, we thought they had the female. I'm learning not to say female. I'm learning to say women. Women's
Problematic meals. At first, they can't jump over the rope. Now they're females.
the women's elimination chamber, and the women's elimination chamber kicked off the elimination chamber pay-per-view. And I thought for the first time in this match, I think all six women did a great job.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I I prefer the women's Elimination Chamber to the men's. I
Oh
think it had
yeah,
a little bit more meat to it, so to speak. And I think that the storylines that they were telling, like there were really no stories told in the male and the men's Elimination Chamber. And that remember, like that was the one I thought we would get our feuds out of. But
right. But
we got more substantive uh, story building from the women's match itself. I thought Bailey was tremendous in the match.
I thought they didn't capitalize on the things, the team thing before. Besides probably Sasha and Bailey, well, I guess they did with the Absolution girls, but they were out
Yeah,
so quickly.
yeah,
I thought one of them maybe could have lasted longer or something of the sort. But I feel You know, like I think we got a wealth of story beyond it, and the person who won, person who should have won. I think.
Yeah, I think we both predicted Alexa. I'm still muddled, and we'll get to this on the Raw review. But I just turned my Alexa on.
Oh my God, is Alexa? Did we mention Alexa Bliss and you just Alexa just
Yes,
oh my God.
she's talking right now. I can't
Wow.
believe it. I have to watch that. I'll just say Bliss from now on because every time I'm watching a pay-per-view or I'm watching Raw or something and they say her name, it will turn on.
This is an amazing discovery that Alexa Bliss controls your Alexa device. And first of all, you
Oh,
have an
you just turned
Alexa.
her on. You just turned her on. Never mind.
Wow.
Never mind. Never mind, Alexa. Never mind.
Right.
See? Stop saying her name.
The Bliss could control your Alexa, and shout out to you having. I keep saying
You
it.
just said it. You said it again. It's my echo. Let's just say that.
Bliss could control your Amazon device, and you know what? Props to you for living in 2022 when we're all living in 2018.
So comfortable, and easy to use. And I talk to this machine whenever I want to find out something, or I want to figure out what like the definition of something. She will always be there for me. But one thing that I do want to get to about the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view is the Asuka Nia Jax match, or just in general, the fact that there were women featured so prominently on the show. All of the big angles had to do with women on the show.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking it was first of all, it was another great encounter between the two. It might have been their best actually. I think Asuka fighting from underneath. I think she it's probably one of the better ways to sort of use her in these matches. I mean, we've seen her so often dominate the match, but when she has these competitive matches like with Nia Jax or Sasha Banks or Bailey or uh, Ember Moon, she really, she really delivers a great match, and I thought they did it as well. And I even thought the post match to it all added another element to it and added completely, to make Nia Jax look strong even in defeat.
Yeah, you can't keep having her lose these matches, and I think you brought
Yeah,
this
it's
up
so
countless
sad. It's
times.
like it's so weak. It's so trash. Like she continues to lose these big matches that mean things, but she loses all the matches that doesn't mean anything. So it's kind of like, where does she go from here? I mean, if she was on SmackDown Live, I think she'd be ruling as a queen, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe Charlotte would get the best of her, but it's crazy.
Yeah, and of course we can't not talk about the Ronda Rousey segment and kind of compare that to what happened on Raw. I thought that segment was super rough up until the point where she kind of turned off the plucky baby face, oh gee gosh golly, wow guys. And she actually started killing motherfuckers. And we'll get to that angle in a second. But what did you think of her initial promo with the WWE?
It was very awkward, and I compared her to having the mic skills of Linda McMahon, where Linda McMahon is just you've seen her through the years, and don't mind. I popped for Linda McMahon. I mean, I popped when she slapped Stephanie. I popped when she, get out of the chair and kick Vince in the groin at WrestleMania 17. I popped huge for Linda McMahon, but she is someone who does not grasp the fact that when you are in a WWE ring, you are a performer, and she never performed. And I think it was the same for Ronda Rousey. I don't think she realized that she's a performer in the ring, and you know, you've gotta, what's the word? At least you gotta project that sort of emotion. You gotta really project everything when you're in that ring. And I don't know if she got her lessons yet, but another trip to NXT would probably do her some good.
Yikes. She's not, listen, she's not going to NXT. Let's just tell you that right now. She's not going to NXT. But in the main event of Elimination Chamber, we saw what we all knew was going to happen. I think that it kind of, to the detriment of the pay-per-view, kind of dampened it a bit, even though, because we had expectations for other things to happen, even though we knew Roman was
cool. I thought it was cool as hell. Like, I mean, granted, everybody, I'm sure people didn't want Roman to win, but I've known this was the story for so long, and I actually do want Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Um,
I do
so
too. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that outcome. I think that look at who you and they have the tendency to do this so many times where you mortgage away your stars to prop some people up. And in this case you mortgage them away. You had Braun basically squash five guys in the match. He eliminated five people, the most ever in any elimination chamber match.
it
And
was
then
sucking
he
that Goldberg.
and then he beat and then he gets beaten by Roman. And I get the story of why it had to be Roman and Braun at the end because those two have been going at it for a calendar year at this point, and Roman has not really ever bested him. And even at the end of the pay-per-view, he didn't best him. But
You feel like he's one of Roman's biggest opponents ever, just in terms of feuds. I mean, he's been
absolutely,
against Seth Rollins and Randy Orton, but I think the feud with Braun Strowman is just never ending.
yeah, and it should always be like Peter Griffin and the chicken. Like that's it's on site at all times with those two. Like they get it, they know. But to have that happen, you killed Balor, you killed Miz. I forgot Cena was even in the match. Elias is whatever, and then more than anything, you
Can we talk
killed
about
Seth.
the great visual of Cena though, and just the visual of Cena of the door closing on him at WrestleMania, and the great imagery. I said with this last week. John Cena's in that part of his career where, because he's an actor now, things are just way more dramatic than they need to be. Like very sixth season of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, over dramatic. And this was just the continue. This was so dramatic of just the door closing on him and WrestleMania shut out, and he's just questionable about his future, like he isn't John Cena or something.
Yeah, sure it was a great shot, but who really remembered that he was in the match? Who even thought that he was, you know, gonna making an impact in the match? I think more eyes were on Finn and Seth and Roman and Braun more than anything. And like I was about to say, like you had Seth Rollins go an hour on Raw, the week before or a couple of days before, and then you just beat him in the Elimination Chamber. Like it just makes him look like that didn't even really matter. It didn't even mean anything.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't. But I
Like
think
I'm
they
not,
had this as a plan
again,
all along. I
I
think they
like
had that as a plan all along.
I'm not mad at the outcome. The way we got there is so shorthanded and ham-fisted, and I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the stuff they did with Braun that
That's the
night.
road to WrestleMania, man. It's just the way we get there is not always cool, but we get there nonetheless.
Yes, and speaking of getting there, we're going to get to the weekly shows from Raw to SmackDown, which I attended yesterday for this week. But before we do that, we're
Raw,
going
because I really want to hear about this SmackDown you're at, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we're gonna talk all about that in just a couple of seconds. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back with you guys on the A Show. All right, guys, we are back on the A Show with your weekly recap. Meelz, are you ready? Did you watch all the shows? Are you prepared?
I watch most of the shows. I watch most of the shows. Actually, I don't even know if it considers most, but you know what? I watch. I know what's happening. Let's go. Let's do this.
All right, we're gonna run through from Anaheim, and it had all of the Elimination Chamber fallout that we were all waiting for to see what was going to happen on the road to WrestleMania. Let's start off with the Ronda Rousey segment that actually ended the show, and I'll go on like in order of importance. I think the Ronda Rousey segment that ended the show, where she comes out, Triple H and Stephanie come out, and they are basically looking for an apology from Kurt Angle. They said that he lied the night before because the whole impetus of this storyline is that Kurt Angle,
what a snitch,
purposely revealed that
for no reason. That was just so weird.
He's in a weird spot, and I think the whole storyline with this is, even though I'm not a fan of him potentially being Ronda Rousey's tag partner in this big match that they're planning, but you've got to fire him up because he's looked like an idiot for the past year.
I know, but he's also Kurt Angle, which is another part that makes it work kind of in a way because he's always been goofy. WWE Kurt Angle is always goofy. So him just deciding, hey, but I don't know why, just out of the blue, but it was just so interesting. But
It
yes,
was random and funny too. However, in this segment, she comes down and it's like a real big sports entertainment thing. I think the most important thing to remember, or not remember, but recognize is that like Ronda really improved to me over the night before.
I thought she was better, definitely, but there's definitely still a lot of just like greenness about her, but she definitely improved in terms of what was the point she was supposed to get across and how we got there.
Yeah, I mean they're throwing it to the fire, and they wouldn't do this if they didn't have any trust in her. I think that she came off a lot more confident. I think when she puts on that angry face, she's money. Like there's no one better with the facials than she is as far as conveying a message to the audience without saying a word. It's almost to a point where I don't really want her to talk because just her body language speaks volumes. Even just the way she stands and imposes herself in the ring is great. And I think that it's really going to be cool when she gets it together and she gets it clicking. But the end of that segment saw Triple H cold cock Kurt Angle and run away. He gave him a club punch.
That was peak Triple H, by the way. That's like something that Triple H would do. It's just this Triple H and Kurt Angle feud. I mean, not to mention this isn't the first, sucker punch that he's given him. You want to turn back the clock and revisit Survivor Series where Kurt Angle is, Triple H is the reason Kurt Angle was even eliminated from the match. So it seems like we're obviously leading towards something.
Yeah, I think WWE all but forgot about the Survivor Series finish with Braun Strowman as well. But I thought it was a strong closing segment. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued by this tag match. A lot more intrigued than I was when I initially heard about it. I love the way they're building up to it. I think Stephanie and Triple H are the perfect shit heels to do this with. And I really like that they put Ronda in more than just how they'll hide Brock until the end. They had her an actual backstage like talking segments where she was talking with Kurt and stuff like that. And it makes me a little bit more confident that she will be more on a weekly basis than Brock is. Kind of like when Ken Shamrock came on.
Right. I heard she even changed with the female roster. So, it looks like they're incorporating her into the main roster pretty well. And she's doing her best to just, earn her stripes.
That's dope. That's really, I didn't know that part. Let's talk about this Roman Reigns promo, which is like everyone's saying is a shoot, isn't a shoot.
It's the most work shoot ever.
Yeah, I think it's a work shoot as well. I think it's a great work shoot also, and I think it's a great use of that. I hate that term, but it's a great use of it because it's helping Roman garner some sympathy that he did not have going into this match by painting Brock as kind of like a figure that doesn't really give a fuck about the business. So Roman came out for his promo, essentially called Brock Lesnar a glorified piece of trash who only cares about the money and he doesn't care about the fans. And, he did the same thing that John Cena did to The Rock a couple of years ago where I'm always here. He's not here. He's only here for the money. That's why I don't respect him. And just the way he delivered the promo to me, a lot of people are calling it his best promo ever. I'm inclined to agree. I don't think there's a debate.
Yeah, I actually do agree 100%. It was the most comfortable that we've seen him on the mic, and it was the most honest and truthful. I mean, we talked about it eventually that on one of these future episodes, we're probably going to revisit the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns feud from a few years ago, but it's like night and day compared to both.
Yeah, and I like I said, I'd love to revisit Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns from the beginning. I mean, that it's been a turbulent road for these two, just in terms of their feud, in terms of just the reactions that they get, in terms of who they are as performers. And this promo kind of set the stage for what we could be getting. I hope we don't get this every single week. I know Brock isn't actually scheduled for next week, but he is scheduled for the week after that in Detroit, I believe. But I think that it's a great way to start framing this. We have 6 weeks left to go until Mania, and I thought this was a strong start. Now, the big rumor was that, was Brock really at the building? Because Roman says in the promo something happened and Brock left. a lot of people were saying, Brock was there and he left early in the day because he was in the script, and then some people say he wasn't there. I believe that Brock wasn't there at all.
I believe that he was not at Monday Night Raw. I believe once the picture with him and Dana White surfaced,
Yes,
there might have been some sort of real reaction to it, and I feel like it was expressed in that promo. And they decided, hey, we're going to take advantage of this. I think probably if there's anyone to sort of mastermind behind this, it might have actually been Paul Heyman, because it feels like something that he would sort of, you know, be able to take something that happened and make something huge out of it, and make this sort of intriguing, way to make Roman Reigns garner this, this very organic and real support.
mm-hmm.
I don't think Brock Lesnar was there behind, on Monday Night Raw, but I also, believe they told him not to show up.
Right. More on Raw. We had the beginnings of the Miz, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins Intercontinental program, with the Miz doing double duty on Monday night, going against Rollins and Balor and being beaten by both. That's right, your Intercontinental champion gets beaten twice
Oh my
in
God.
one night.
It's literally, they double down on the trope of the champion gets beat and everyone earns an opportunity that way. But I thought there were fun matches nonetheless. I thought both matches were fun. I thought it was a cool opportunity. I thought we got a little smarmy Finn Balor out of all of this, and we got a very
Absolutely.
impressive Seth Rollins out of this. He continue his role in just the momentum of just being one of the most exciting guys on Monday Night Raw. And The Miz has a genuine gripe with everyone in the match. So I thought it was pretty cool. And I like that we transitioned away from The Miz versus Braun Strowman, because I think this is just a way more interesting program than that ever was.
Yeah, I'm all for them tearing the house down. I hope they don't add anybody else to this match. I thought that the matches, or of the matches on Monday, I like the Seth Rollins one a little bit better than Finn. I think they're doing something with Finn. I really do think they're onto something. Even if you watch like the extras that they do after the show ends, where he's like, Finn had a YouTube extra where he was just like, you got to go through me to get to the IC title.
I saw that.
They're really doing something with him, and I think it's subtle, and I think it's great. I just want them to be a little more heavy-handed, if you will. So, picture me saying heavy-handed to the WWE, but I want them to be a little bit more heavy-handed so the fans can start to see that he's changing.
I agree.
And I think that Seth and Finn is going to be a great feud, and I would love for them to have this feud, but with Miz in the middle saying, "Hey, worry about me," because his whole character is everyone overlooks me, and it's just a perfect way to put two workhorses in there with really someone that can carry the promos in the Miz, and the match should be amazing. I would want them to make a stipulation with that match though, like a ladder.
A ladder. I feel like, it would be crazy. I don't know. I have weird stipulations. Don't mind me.
What a fucking Iron Man match. I'm Meelz
No,
booking. It's the Meelz booking section.
I would have the way Kurt Angle booked it, since Kurt Angle seems to hate the Miz, that the winner, if you need to win this championship match, you must pin Miz, and Miz can pin any of the other two to retain. But you have to pin Miz. But then it's
that buries Miz. That buries Miz.
That buries Miz. But also, I feel like Miz is gonna win anyway. But you know what? I have weird booking. I told you this.
If the demon is in that match, Miz is not winning that match.
Oh, easily. And I think he probably will. I mean, WrestleMania, his first WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, I think Finn will definitely win the title, or come out with the title, because you need. But I just don't know if you'll swap it from a heel to someone who's about to become a heel. You know what I'm saying? I think it'll go to Seth, and then it'll have Finn turn on Seth or something like that.
I could see that,
because you're just handing it to another heel. Like at that point, you're just handing it to another heel, and then what does Miz do?
There are rumors of Seth Rollins making that heel turn, so who knows?
Nah, they're building Seth to be like big face.
I would hope so.
He's gonna be a big face. One more point about Raw. What in the fuck are they doing with Asuka?
So here's my take on this. I initially thought that Asuka would announce who she's gonna face at WrestleMania. last night, but I think they're waiting on the Charlotte Ruby Riott match at Fastlane.
I agree.
So I think we're literally sitting on our hands until March 12th, maybe, or 11th, or whenever Fastlane is. But we're literally sitting on our hands till then. So I think they're just kind of biding their time with this Nia Jax beef and this Alexa Bliss beef. But they're essentially building to an Alexa Bliss Asuka match, but we don't actually know if it'll happen. And the WrestleMania match, if she does pick Charlotte, will seem more than rushed.
Yeah, I well, you don't need a lot of build for that, for the Charlotte match with Asuka.
I think Charlotte needs to start throwing some jabs at Asuka's way. I think, just acknowledge that this is a match that could happen and start building it, building things that way. I don't think we need to wait until Asuka makes her decision to really start getting things in gear, or at least it'll make it seem a little bit more realistic.
Right. The rematch next week on Raw. I would love for them to kind of set a even with their Rumble winners to me seem very ineffective right now, and I think it's time for them to start heating the Rumble winners up. And in Nakamura's case, it's starting with him right now, but in Asuka's case, she's kind of like just making the decision. I like the Raw announcers are prematurely, in my opinion, announcing that she's going to go against Alexa, and Alexa thinks that she's chosen I said Alexa again. She turned on.
No sweat.
You turned on. There you go. But I think that Asuka and Charlotte is a stronger move, and I think Nia and Bliss is the better story. So we'll see what happens. But speaking of stories, I mean, we have the potential to get yet another like big match, singles match for the women with Sasha and Bayley, which I think they've built up really excellently over the past month.
I thought the nice touch of having Bayley be the one to sort of leave Sasha Banks hanging is a nice touch. I think it's the first time in a long time we've seen Bayley show a little bit of backbone and not just to get trampled over, beaten up, or anything like that. Like she did at Elimination Chamber, she essentially got double crossed, and she's been double crossed how many damn times? So yeah. I feel like it's a good time for her to show backbone, and it adds a little bit of layer of dimension to Bayley. So I think it's good. It gives you a reason to cheer for her.
Right. And let's move on to SmackDown Live, which emanated from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. I actually attended the show live yesterday.
I can't remember the last time it was in Los Angeles.
7 years, I believe. 7 years, I think.
Which is crazy because they do Raw in Los Angeles all the time and never show up for SmackDown. Yeah,
and they're in LA a lot. I mean, pretty much a lot of we're getting the Survivor Series this year, but I have been to two Raws in LA since then. I went to the Raw in July and I went to the Raw in December, and this is the first SmackDown. So I attended SmackDown.
I actually came a show to attend, by the way. I'm just
it was a better. I won't say it was a perfect SmackDown. I think that since your expectations might be like at the bottom of the bottom for this show, it might have blown them away. There was some rough stuff on this show. I think the main event kind of evened it out, which I thought was a great main event, even though it wasn't up to the standards of, those two guys, which was John Cena and AJ Styles, what they've done before. But I thought the show was incredibly fun to be at because, you got to see a lot of really cool story development, but you also got to see the stories get muddled a lot more. And I'm, of course, talking about the John Cena storyline. And I think that we were all guessing when John Cena announced that he'd be attending SmackDown after Elimination Chamber that he would be challenging Nakamura for his Royal Rumble title shot. They completely swerved us on Tuesday. Then they had John Cena come out and basically beg for a title shot. Shane McMahon gives it to him in the form of, if you beat AJ Styles tonight with 90 minutes notice, then you'll be inserted into the 5-way title match at Fastlane. And that was our main event. John Cena, of course, won the match and beat AJ Styles, which, once again, like I said, you keep beating your champion. And now it's a 6-pack challenge. This is completely fucking, like, it's muddling this whole thing. Like, there are too many storylines right now in WWE that are overlapping each other. John Cena's is the most, convoluted of them all at this point. Because you can't have him lose and he can't. But he's gonna have to keep losing all these big matches. Like he's gonna have to lose at Fastlane again. So what's the point of doing this? I feel like if you would have given him the Nakamura match, it would have been a better match, and it would have been a more. You could have seen why he lost, and it would have made Nakamura look strong. So it just makes it look even worse that he's doing all of this and going to another show and trying to go to the Elimination Chamber and stuff like that. Like, I think the John Cena storyline is actually making the SmackDown shit a lot worse than it is.
I thought John Cena's addition to SmackDown made a world of difference just because it was an actual star on the show. No offense to the guys that are there, but I think a lot of us are pretty much used to the main roster, and just John Cena added a little bit of breath of fresh air. But I do agree that he's sort of muddying the sort of the main event scene. I think him adding to his addition to the match makes it,
it makes it more important.
It makes it way more important, but I also feel like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this necessarily goes. I think if they went with Nakamura, they could have, built the story a little bit more that he really wants that WrestleMania match, and he doesn't even have to beat Nakamura for his championship shot. He has to beat Nakamura just to be inserted into the championship match. But I think now that you add him to the championship, it's like, he's fighting for his 17th championship at a Fastlane pay-per-view.
Yeah, you already know it's not happening. You already know it's not.
Yeah, it's kind of not happening. So it's weird.
I do think they had a tremendous match, which was actually funny because USA had to cut to the Unsolved show right after SmackDown, and so you could hear literally you could hear them, and I was close, you could hear them talking, saying we got a minute. Because I think they had on the actual show that you could see on TV, they had the countdown, right? Showing when the show would start. So they do the beatdown angle where Dolph Ziggler comes out and hits AJ, and John Cena gives him the AA. John Cena is rushing to pick Styles up. I think this is where the show ended for you guys. He lifts AJ Styles up because he wants to put his hand up, raise his arm. The fucking, when during wrestling live events at WWE, it goes dark when it's commercial or it's time to change the mats. It goes dark as soon as he lifts AJ's arm up, and then Cena and AJ just kind of standing there, look at each other, and they're like, "What just happened? They just cut us off?"
So I think for the way it definitely ended with John Cena giving the AA to Dolph Ziggler, and then I think, did AJ Styles go up to the top rope or something?
No.
He was somewhere.
Oh shit! He did. He did. He gave Dolph a phenomenal forearm. I'm sorry. He gave Dolph a phenomenal.
That's where it ended right before he gave him the phenomenal forearm. It was so weird because it looked like he was attempting something, and then it just kind of ended there.
So what a weird. But I mean, they don't ever do overruns, I guess, on Tuesdays. I guess that's USA's they have a hard out. They had the fucking hardest out for Biggie and Tupac last night.
Easily. Listen,
they cut
the Tupac thing, his numbers.
But yeah, I hope that it starts to make sense after this. I just want to get to the Undertaker shit. Oh shit, we didn't even mention that on Raw.
Oh, he attempted to challenge the Undertaker.
Yeah,
and then said he couldn't, and then I was just like, really? We're supposed to believe that?
Well, they're not. Well, I mean, they wouldn't tease it without a payoff, I think. But I do believe that we need to get to it. At least do a lights turn off, tease or something like that. We need a tease. At least give us something to go off of. Because right now,
Undertaker shows up at Fastlane. I think that would be cool. But I don't think
that'd be dope. That would be dope. Because here's the thing: Cena can't work this alone, and it's not the reason it's not doing it for me right now is because it's so unbelievable to me.
Yeah. 100%.
The Usos and New Day promo from SmackDown, also one of my highlights of the show. I was originally, and I even when they announced this match a week and a half ago or a week ago, I was against it. And this promo brought me right back. You had the Usos doing their promo style, talking about how they've been on the sideline for 9 years and they've never had a single WrestleMania match. And then the New Day basically retorting, or rather Big E giving, to me, one of his strongest performances in years on the mic against the Usos. And I was all in. I was all in on that promo.
I think it's and I was in the same boat as you. I was like, oh great, we're getting a rerun, like a rerun, of their match series from last year. But I think it was a great promo, and I think it worked for all teams. And it was just the weirdest thing when the Bludgeon Brothers showed up because they are not part of the match. But you know,
They didn't have a match.
they didn't even have one, right? So it was even more weird. It was like, but maybe they're just looming in the background. Maybe there's something sort of being set up there. But I thought it was a great, I thought it was a great segment on SmackDown, which happened very few and far between, apparently.
Yeah. And we also had a Shinsuke Nakamura return from wherever the fuck he's been at for the past 3 weeks, and he took on Aiden English, and I think his first match in quite some. Was this his first match since Royal Rumble?
Shit.
It had to be.
Had to be.
Yeah. It was his first match since Royal Rumble.
I think he teamed with AJ.
He did
SmackDown after, but it's really it's been since that week, since the week of the Rumble.
Man, he had a pretty solid match against Aiden English. All signs were pointing to Nakamura probably going against Rusev at Fastlane, which I mean that's cool.
Counterproductive. Just make the guy a face already. Why are you doing this to him?
Yeah. And not only that, having him get beat by Nakamura. Well, Nakamura needs quality wins. Not saying Rusev isn't a quality opponent, but he's not looked at
he's not a quality win. No, he's not a quality win.
Yeah, he's not a quality win at all. Like a John Cena win, even though he's beaten John Cena before, is a quality. Well, you know what? Actually, you know what, Meelz? And I feel like shit saying this, and I feel like this should put me on record for saying this today.
Let's do it.
Give Nakamura his fucking win back against Jinder Mahal. That's his quality.
I was just thinking that. I was literally just thinking that.
Like, how come he hasn't gotten his wins back against Jinder? He's never gotten his wins back against him. Like, that is the easiest storyline to pull. Jinder comes out and says, Nakamura, yeah, because I'm the one who beat you. You couldn't do it against me, so you can't do it against AJ. Have Nakamura beat that demon. And I don't understand why this isn't. This. I could be booking this. Like, it's not rocket science. Have Nakamura beat strong guys going into it. Have him beat Randy Orton.
I think because Ryan Ward isn't running SmackDown, so that's not why it's happening.
That's you're damn right. You're damn right.
But like, I'm all for Rusev at Fastlane, but not in this sort of capacity.
Absolutely not.
You know what? I'm here for Nakamura returning, and just I think those are all the hot points of SmackDown. How did you enjoy the show? Just overall, Did you enjoy yourself? Was it amazing?
Yeah, I was having a pretty bad day before I went, and I went in, and I really actually enjoyed myself. Wale was heckling people from the moment we stepped. He was heckling Corey Grace. Got a rise out of him. He was heckling Sasha Banks. You can actually see that video on my Twitter. He heckled the shit out of Sasha pretty much all night during the mixed match challenge, their match there, which was a fun match, by the way. That's the first time I've probably watched a full mixed match challenge match.
Yeah, it was a good match. We're here to save those dogs, so I'm pretty, I'll say this.
They have potentially fucked that up by making Asuka's streak a part of a mixed match.
By pointing it out completely. Yes, they fucked it up.
Like now she can't lose.
Yeah, so now those rescue dogs are as good as saved. Like we're saving them damn dogs. I'm telling you, all these dogs, man. If Miz and Asuka win, I'll donate to rescue dogs. I'll donate to that. Just
like stray thoughts of what like crowd reactions, like Nakamura, AJ, and Cena by far the top three. I think KO was a little bit more subdued than it was when I saw him last at Staples.
What about Josh Duhamel or Dumar or whatever his name is?
Silence. They like Big E's rap though.
Oh, okay.
Love the New Day. They love the New Day. They were all in. Listen, this LA crowd last night, they were ready because I mean we don't get SmackDown often, so we don't see these guys unless it's a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So they were excited to see all of these guys.
Even in New York, we don't get SmackDown that often. We get the SmackDown after
SummerSlam.
SmackDown after SummerSlam, but everyone's burnt out the entire week that they're not even going to go to that show. So we rarely even get SmackDown. So it's kind of a treat when they show up.
Yeah, and I thought they were all in. They like very little people left for the mixed match challenge and 205 live. There, I will say that 205 live was a little bit quieter at certain points, but like during the final stretches of certain matches, like Roddy and Kalisto, they turned up for that, and they really enjoyed the Roddy and Kalisto match. And I thought that was probably, if not for Cena and AJ, that might be my match of the night.
I have to go watch that damn match. I've
So
not
good.
watched any of these tournament matches at all. Like I've been terrible at it.
So good. It had Roderick Strong going over Kalisto in about 10, 11 minutes. I thought it was a really strong match. I think Roderick Strong by far is sliding into Neville's place as the workhorse of the actual brand.
I agree.
I
I agree.
really enjoying his stuff there. And you also
Yeah,
had go ahead.
he's a permanent fixture on 205 Live now. I'd have to assume.
I hope so. I really hope so, and I hope that they don't look at and I don't think he would either. But I hope that people don't look at that as a demotion, because this is a chance for him to actually show his ass and then potentially make that show and make it his show. And I think that's
Right.
he has all the talent and all the power to do that right now, because both of his matches on this tournament have been absolutely incredible. And I think with the match he has coming up in 2 weeks against Cedric Alexander, who beat TJP at last night's show, will potentially be an incredible match, because these two have actually gone against each other many times.
Oh, all right. Then I guess I'll tune in for that. Shoot.
Yeah, these two have they've been at it before. I want to say PWG.
I'd believe so. I want to
It's
say
either
so.
PWG or ROH. No, yes, it was definitely ROH, because they had an excellent match to me at Best in the World maybe 2013 or 14. But I think that they have really good chemistry. I really love Alexander and Roderick together.
I agree. Let's see this happen. I'm happy for 205 Live.
Yeah, great show. But all in all, they knew what was up. Road Dogg knew I was coming to SmackDown. He knew I was coming.
And he turned up. Yeah, he obviously turned up, or maybe he just didn't show up and someone else booked SmackDown.
Can we talk about Daniel Bryan going home after like 25 minutes? Like, I walked in on that segment and I was like, why is Daniel Bryan leaving?
Daniel Bryan looks weird. He just looks weird. He's in this awkward phase where his hair is like half grown and he dresses like just a high schooler, an old 40-year-old high schooler. And he just looks weird, but I don't know why he's going home in the middle of the show. It just seems very weird. Are we building towards something? I feel like they're going to drop this.
Uh I don't I think Road Dogg's the end game for Road Dogg is a big question mark. It's like, what's the ending of this? He's like, I have no clue. There's nothing that seems to be building for these two at WrestleMania. For sure, not a match. I don't know what's going on with it. On last night's SmackDown, but as far as anything after that, like, I just wish they would just wrap this shit up and turn somebody at this point.
I think so. Yeah, somebody, one of these people. I think they're trying to develop an exit strategy for Daniel Bryan.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I think that's what we're heading towards. I think maybe he's the one who turns and he's the one who gets banished from SmackDown because his contract is up and it does not look like he's resigning, because it does not look like they're going to let him wrestle. And he
Right.
said if he's not in the ring by WrestleMania, there's chances are he will not be cleared for the ring and chances are he will leave. So maybe this is the build up to an exit strategy for Daniel Bryan.
Yikes. He has I want to say he has around 200 days left on his contract, so it's getting real. It's getting real. Very, very real. But yeah, that's it for this week.
Repeat that.
Do you have a match of the week this week?
I have a match of the week, and I want to say this match because I was reading Twitter on Monday, and I read the tweets from a fellow gentleman of mine, someone who I do respect, that goes by the name of Stat Guy Greg, and he said that the Miz, while he is the second longest Intercontinental Champion of all time, has not had one memorable match in any of his reigns, and I would like
Wow.
to dispute that. So I would like to point everybody to No Mercy 2016 versus Dolph Ziggler,
Oh
the
God.
greatest Miz match of all time. And I would also like to point people to Battleground 2016 in a fatal four-way match with Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and The Miz. And I want everyone to report back to me who won those matches. So,
Biz didn't
shout
win
out
them.
to
No,
that
Biz won.
guy Greg. Shout out to Stat Guy Greg, who's clearly wrong in this situation. But you know what? We'll see what happens.
I think for my match of the week, I'm gonna have to go ahead and point everyone to go watch the Honor Rising main event between the Golden Lovers and Marty Scurll and Cody. If not for just the storytelling, yeah, definitely go watch it. I mean, if not for the storytelling, then the incredible work of Kenny and Coda. Just seeing the difference between face Kenny and heel Kenny is really cool, and it's really great in a lot of subtle different ways. They have great chemistry together. Like I think that they are a great tag team already, just from being years off and not being not tagging for a really long time. And I think there's a lot of intrigue there. And I think Cody really did a great job as far as being a heel, and Marty Scurll being kind of like stuck in the middle between his two Bullet Club or former Bullet Club friends fighting each other. I think it's just great storytelling. I think it's very early in the year, but this is a strong contender for best storyline and best feud of the year so far.
You know what? I think I'm gonna believe the thread and that they are actually secretly in love, and that's what invests me in this story, the underlying story. I love stories, um, so I believe most threads on Twitter, like the one that says Avril Lavigne is dead.
Wow.
I completely believe that, um, and
Lo-
I want to choose to believe this too. I want to choose to believe this in all my heart of hearts.
love who you want to love. It's love who
Facts,
you want to love.
big facts.
But yes, next week we will be back with the A Show 20, the 20th episode of this show. Not sure what we're gonna do yet. Everything we pretty much do with this show is kind of spontaneous. So whatever we do, it'll be a surprise to you guys. And just like on WWE SmackDown, you'll get it within 90 minutes notice of what the main event is. But we will definitely be doing something for A Show 20. Meelz, anything else you want to add?
Nah, man. I mean, just keep up with RNC, keep up with all things RNC Radio. We
Absolutely.
released the second episode of RSPN is up from last week,
Third episode will be out the day after this comes out, Thursday. So,
and we have RNC Radio with you and Josh this week has made its triumphant return.
yeah, I chewed Josh out for the first 5 minutes about his Hollywood tendencies. So make sure you listen to that, and also listen to Josh potentially curse someone to overdose on drugs on that show as well.
Listen, this is something that I have to tune into. I've not tuned in yet, but I'm subscribed. I'm subscribed.
Thank you.
I'm here. I'm going to listen. We also have the RNC Radio podcast playlist actually that's consistently updated, and we have another one coming down the pipeline this week. Dear women, you are appreciated. So tune in for that. Wait up for that. And we just have a slew of playlists coming out this entire March. We planned it out, and it's going to look like a really fun month if you're really into music.
Absolutely. Make sure you follow us on SoundCloud and subscribe to us on iTunes. The link will be in the description and on SoundCloud. Oh, I said SoundCloud, but subscribe to us on Apple Music and Spotify as well. All the links or all the relevant links will be in the description. You can follow me at OG Johnny 5, and you can follow Meelz at Meelz TV. That is MEELZ TV. Until next time, guys, we will be back with the 20th episode of the A Show. It might not be something to you, but it's everything to me, and that's all that matters.
Shout out to Alexa. Alexa.
Come on, man. Just chill out. Until next time, guys. See you later.